Or in this computer. Welcome to the Gratitude Infusion Mastermind for February 7th, 2024. And as I said, I'm going to start right into the kind of the training or the teaching for today. And I'm still thinking a lot about New Year's resolutions. I had a call last night with my two sons where we did our gratitude or our resolutions rather, and we're kind of looking at the first month and we're doing it by quarter. And so how are we doing from January to, in this case, February 6th? So I wanted to cover some things that this first thing is called 20 ways to keep your New Year's resolutions going. And start with gratitude. Begin your resolution journey by expressing gratitude for the opportunity to make positive changes in your life. So obviously that's something that's very important. Gratitude journal. I'm going to talk about that separately. I have it right here, and I have a link in the chat for my gratitude journal. But as I'm fond of saying, if you have a spiral notebook, that's fine as well. Hi, Anastasia. And anything where you're writing things down, and it says in the front of my gratitude journal, if you think about it, it's like a dream. If you talk about it, it inspires you. If you write about it, it empowers you. So very important. Maintain a gratitude journal where you write things down you're grateful for daily. This practice can boost your motivation, which is very true. Set gratitude goals. Make gratitude itself a resolution by setting specific goals, and the specific piece is very important. And how often you practice it, such as writing 3 things you're grateful for each day. People ask me a lot about when I'm in the gratitude journal, what if I just wanted to write one thing? It takes me 5 minutes every single day to write in the gratitude journal. But I said, if you can't do that, write a sentence, write a word, write 3 words, anything where it's going to give you this sort of reinforcement in your brain of what you're grateful for, because it can combat anxiety and depression and the blues and so many different things too. And we're talking about New Year's resolutions, but this is just in general as well. So reflect on achievements, very important. When you achieve a resolution milestone, take a moment to express gratitude for your progress. I got invited to do a big talk in it's actually virtual, but it's in Florida on March 20th on International Happiness Day. And I actually get to be the keynote speaker. And then they told me there's going to be 10,000 people. Yeah, thanks, Miss Lipsky. There's going to be 10,000 people on the call, and about 7 or 8 speakers. And I'm there. And I just sat there and just smiled and looked out at my view and just thought, man, how fortunate am I to have something like that happen. So do reflect on those achievements. Accountability partner, for those of you like Mr. Morgan, has got a lovely new wife in the last couple of years, is a good example. It's great to have somebody that you get to be accountable with. Share your resolutions with a friend or family member and express gratitude for their support in helping you stay on track. Very important. Mindful eating. This is something my good friend, you don't know her by this name, I know her as STK, and I have been talking about recently, is that, that's such a huge part of our mental and emotional picture, if you will, is our weight and what kind of shape we're in and that kind of thing. So mindful eating, if your resolution is health related, practice mindful eating and express gratitude for nourishing your body with wholesome foods, which I think is kind of cool. Exercise gratitude. As some of you know, I walk miles every day, and it's really important for me to have that. And I listen to a book or a podcast or whatever. And really, as you get older, it's the whole philosophy is use it or lose it. And it's so important. So incorporate gratitude into your fitness routine by expressing thanks for your body's capabilities, which is another great way to turn it back to what you're grateful for. Financial gratitude. I think on some of my people I coach, relationships is right up there, but finances is almost one of the biggest comments that people mention that they want to really focus on and get better at. So financial gratitude, if your resolution involves finances, regularly acknowledge and appreciate your financial stability and progress. And if you're not stable, get stable and start doing something towards that end goal. Meditation, this is another thing, gratitude meditation. Try guided gratitude meditation to enhance your overall sense of thankfulness. I understand that everybody's different, but for me, I do a 10-minute meditation every day, but I'm a huge fan of guided meditation, because the way my mind happens to work, I'll go out in all sorts of different tangents and not be thinking about things. But if I have somebody talking through the meditation, it really seems to keep me more focused on it, my breathing and all that type of thing, which is really important. Daily affirmations. A lot of people believe in affirmations. Very important. Create daily affirmations that include gratitude statements to reinforce your resolution. Again, big time thing. Help others. I've mentioned this many times about if you want to help yourself, help other people. Again, on my coaching clients, I meet a lot of my coaching clients through talks I've done, whether it's virtual or in person. And a lot of them are having difficulties, and it's one of the reasons why they want to get coached. And sometimes I'll mention, well, if you want to help yourself, help other people. It's an amazing way to sort of send vibes back to you, if you will, and when you're making a difference for other people. Somebody asked me the other day, one of my fraternity brothers from way back, and why do you like what you do as well as you do? And do you miss being in retail or whatever I did for different parts of my life? And I would tell them that you change my life once or twice a week in some form, from videos to workshops to talks to coaching to whatever. And there's nothing more exciting than watching other people get changed and get transformed and change their trajectory thanks to you. And so important. And then expressing gratitude for the opportunity to make a positive impact. Self-care, dedicate time for self-care practices and express gratitude for taking care of your physical and mental well-being. I contend, you don't have to believe everything I say, but I think that in a lot of the research that I've done, so many people suffer from some lack of self-esteem or self-confidence. And if you really practice self-care and start with yourself, how are you ever going to build a building if you have a solid foundation, if you're going to try to add extra floors, if the foundation isn't very well put into the ground or what have you? So it starts with you. And as I said in my talks, find yourself, find your talent, find your purpose, find your purpose, and find your passion, find your purpose. But it starts with you. It starts with how the relationship you have with yourself. So very important. Celebrate progress. This was mentioned earlier, but it's so important. Celebrate small wins along the way and express gratitude for the progress you've made. Again, so important. I've said many times, I ran a marathon once in 1981. And at 13 miles, should I be proud of myself for 13 miles or still thinking about 13 I still have to go? And the answer is both. So celebrate those small wins along the way. And in fact, this relationship we have with ourselves, I remember growing up, somebody said, you can never turn your back on your face. That was kind of a strange comment, but I kind of get it though. It's so important to celebrate the things you've done. Visualize success. A lot of people do this, which I think is important too. Use visualization techniques to imagine the positive outcomes of your resolutions rather, and feel grateful for them. So some people like that, which I think is another good technique for reinforcing resolutions and so forth. Gratitude walks. I mentioned I do this walk every day. I usually use a podcast or a book to do an audible book. And it's nice. It says, go for walks in nature, express gratitude for the beauty and serenity of your surroundings. And that can make a big deal. And then sometimes I'll just turn off the Audible or the AirPods rather, and just think about things, which can be neat. You can come up with a lot of great things. And then if you get some brilliant idea, you can put it on the notepad on your phone or whatever, but you're at least thinking about things you're grateful for as you're on your walk. Grateful morning routine. I've mentioned in the past this power hour that I do, and starting with make your bed. So if you accomplish something, and then drink a quart of water, turn on the coffee machine, take my shower, come in and stretch, get dressed. That's 10 minutes. Meditation, 10 minutes. Gratitude journal, 5 or 6 minutes, and then turn on the devices. And it's so important. They say gratitude for a grateful morning routine. But I talked to an individual yesterday. In fact, did I see that I thought she was on here? Yeah, there she is, right? Oh, Carrie, look at you. Hi, Carrie. And Carrie was saying, and I told this to some other people I was on a Zoom call later. How about you just start with celebrating drinking a glass of water? I go, but there's so many other things. That's okay. Not everybody can take on the whole thing. So thanks, Carrie, for that. That was very helpful. Digital or gratitude morning routine, power hours, I like to call it. Digital detox as a resolution, limit screen time and express gratitude for the increased quality time with loved ones. There's a lot that's said about the screen time we're on now, and that especially if it's an hour or so or more, give or take an hour before you go to bed, turn off all screens and maybe do some reading or something, but get the blue light out of your system because it impacts your melatonin production, which helps you to fall asleep and so forth. So any digital detox. The other day, I had my phone, like we all have our phones, of course. And by the way, we're going to do a little exercise at about 5 minutes to 1. You're going to need your phone. So make sure it's kind of handy. But the other day I turned off my phone just to reboot it. And, about 10 minutes later, I started my my hands were shaking, and I was going, what? Oh my, what's going on? Oh my God, my phone's not on. What the heck? And I forgot to turn it back on. So it just so goes, hi, Sam. It just goes to show that the digital detox is a good thing too. Learn something new, commit to learning a new skill or hobby, and be thankful for the opportunity to expand your knowledge. So very important. That's one of the things. Another thing that does too, besides resolutions, it really helps your confidence. There's a lot of ways to help your self-esteem and help your confidence, and one of them is to learn something new. So that has added benefits. And then a couple left here: declutter and donate. As you declutter your space, express gratitude for the abundance in your life and donate to those in need. Depending on how old you are, we have a wide variety of ages here. You spend half your life collecting things, and then you probably spend the second half trying to get rid of those things, more commonly known as stuff. It's all under the category of stuff, but it's a great feeling. It's very cathartic. And when you clear things out and you don't have to be keeping track of all these things. And as somebody said, you got to store them, you got to insure them, you got to do all these different things, but you donate them. And I'll take big bundles of things to Goodwill and St. Vincent de Paul and places like that. And it's always neat because it's just this great feeling that you're getting rid of these things. You don't need them over, but you're also passing them on to somebody else that might be able to use them too. So, and then last thing on this list, review and adjust. Regularly review your resolutions, adjust as needed, and express gratitude for the growth and self-awareness you've gained. When I learned how to fly, I was in my late 20s. It took me about a year and a half to get my pilot's license. And one of the things that they talked about is not only having a checklist, so you always had to think a punch list so you wouldn't forget really important things that could impact your safety. And as I went through it, they said, as they went through and they looked at it and they said, you're never going to fly in a straight line. So you need to adjust, because the term that they use, which I always thought was kind of cool, is minor course corrections. You're always making minor course corrections. You fly in a straight line, technically in a straight line, but it's this little mini zigzag the entire way. You're correcting for power, for wind, for variations, for lift, for drag, for all the different things that affect an airplane. And so when you're doing that, it's minor course correction. So same thing here is make these resolutions, stick to them, write them down, whatever works best for you, but also know that you're going to make corrections. You're going to make adjustments. And Connor and Kyle and I were talking about that last night too, which is really important. And one thing, I'm going to get to this other list in a second, but I want to mention on resolutions. I got this from somebody, and I told my good friend Ryan Pauly this here about a week ago. I think we get too complicated with resolutions, and Ryan will know this, and some other people will know this. 10 things for this, 10 things for that, 10 things. I go, what? That's a lot of stuff to keep track of. And so I came up with something a little bit differently this year. It's very simple. It's just 4 things. And so it's still only February 7th. So it's still not too late to think about your resolutions for 2024. But the whole thing is to break it down into quarters. So the first quarter is obviously January, February, and March. And then you review it the first week of April, how you did the first 3 months, and then you do the same thing for the second 3 and the third 3 and the fourth 3 for the year. And it's just 4 things: 1 personal goal, 1 professional goal, 1 thing you're going to do differently, and 1 thing you're going to clean up. And it could be anything, and it's that. And then you review it after the first quarter. So it's not this overwhelming thing. Sometimes we set goals and we look at the year, whether they're gratitude goals or anything else, and we look at the year, and December 31st seems like a long ways away. So if you break it down into quarters rather, it can really make a difference. So really, really nice. So, and then staying on this theme, and then I'm going to mention the gratitude journal here in a little bit too, and tell you why I want to make sure I bring up that. A couple more ideas around gratitude. I call myself that gratitude guy. It's just so important. It's such a good mindset. Every day when I write in this, I start out with a number, and when I'm done writing 5 or 6 minutes, that's it. 5 or 6 minutes. It's not 10 minutes. It's not a half hour. The number always goes up when I'm at the bottom of the second page writing it. So daily gratitude journaling. And so commit to writing down 3 things you're grateful for each day. Again, you can write down sentences. And of course, I'm a big fan of practicing what you preach. And I'm going to get back to this in a minute, but here's today's entry. And so it takes me 5 minutes, and there's sentences, and I've got Gratitude Infusion Mastermind today, Fraternity Brothers Coffee. My mom would have been 101 today. She died in 1980. So I would have had another 60 or so years with my mom, or 50 years, which is always makes me sad. I was 29 when she died. But anyway, and so I put little different things in there so you don't have to have a diary, and you can just make little comments on the side. But there's the number where you start with the daily number. Now I'm getting into the journal. And then at the bottom, it was 9. And then after I finished writing in it, in the lower right-hand corner, it's a 9.5. It's hard to talk about your blessings and abundance and not feel good about yourself. And as I said to these fraternity brothers today, boy, we should all be grateful. There's 4 of us, and we're all healthy, knock on wood, and we're all early to mid 70s now. So, I mean, it's like, that's something to really be grateful for. Gratitude letters. Some people write a letter of gratitude each month, which I think is kind of cool. You can send that to a person, and you'll see in this exercise we do at the very end with your cell phone, which is kind of similar to that. Mention the meditation. Thank you note. That's something I think in all this technology and everything that we've done, it's still never out of fashion or out of vogue or whatever you want to call it, to send somebody a thank you note for a big or a small act of kindness too. Another one I read about that I thought was interesting is a gratitude jar. I've had a few people that have done that, where they write down one thing they're grateful for, and sometimes in the course of a month or a year, they write down one different word, put it in the jar every day. At the end of the year, they have 365 things they're grateful for, which is really neat. I mentioned earlier, if you want to help yourself, help other people. I just signed up to help at a food bank last week. I saw it on TV. It had a QR code, and I scanned it and got it. And so I'm going to help. It's going to be down in South Center, actually Tukwila. And volunteer regularly. Dedicate time each month to volunteer for a cause you're grateful for. So nice thing. And I mentioned the gratitude walks. Share gratitude with your family. I unfortunately just had a brother pass away in December. And I happened to be having coffee with my other brother a couple of days ago, talking about a third brother that's got a bunch of issues. And just having my brother share the loss of my brother Donnie, and my older brother Rob and I had coffee. We were talking about this other brother, where there's 4 of us, and then a sister that has all these issues. And so we're working to help him. But just having my brother there, I said to him, you met me. He's 2 years older than I am. I said, you met me when you were 2 years old. I said, nobody's known me longer than you have. So sharing gratitude with your family is so very important. And, gratitude and challenges. Challenging when you have challenges that are coming up. As a good friend of mine says to me, I challenge you to do this particular episode, or do this, read this book, which I did read, the Rick Rubin book, by the way, sidebar. But always live up to the challenges. Pay attention to what people are challenging you to do, because they generally want something better for you. Social media gratitude posts. I post a 15-second video every single day to TikTok and YouTube. It also goes to LinkedIn and Facebook. And so social media is either the best or worst thing that's ever happened to us, in my opinion. There's many things about it that are really kind of cool, but there's a lot of things, from cyberbullying to the different things that have happened in schools, things that's really kind of too bad. But read books on gratitude. I mentioned, is this a shameless plug for the 3rd time? By the way, the link is in the very top of the chat if you're interested. I feel so strongly about that. And any other books, I've got a number of other books on gratitude, but the gratitude journal is the one I feel the most strongly about, because it can impact your state of mind, your being, your self-confidence, your whole self-awareness on a daily basis. And it kind of sets the tone for the day and so forth. Gratitude in the workplace. Start meetings with a round of gratitude sharing. I thought that was kind of cool. Random acts of kindness. I think that was another one that was sort of neat. And then, as I mentioned, gratitude in your health. Support local businesses. Show gratitude for them. You can do a vision board. I'm not going to turn my computer, but I have a vision board right there that's really cool. And it's got all the pictures and things that I'm in the process of moving towards, which is really kind of cool. And I mentioned about learning a new hobby or new skill. Teach gratitude. If you want to learn something, teach it, and they say that that's the best way to learn something, is to actually teach it. And then lastly, reflect on growth. So those are some key things. So let me take this opportunity, and I'm going to cover the gratitude journal. And then in about 10 minutes, 5 or 10 minutes, we're going to go to one breakout room. And I've got some questions, which you'll see in the chat too for that. But first off, any questions, comments from the content pillar for today? Anybody got anything they want to add? I always kind of like this. What this part always reminds me, because I try to ask questions when depends on the mood I'm in. But it reminds me of being in math class in 8th grade when I go, please don't make eye contact with the teacher. Do not make eye contact with the teacher. Oh, David Brookie. Oh, David, did you get the formula for that? Oh, God, no, I don't know it. So then I always look at people and thank you for all having yours. Only one or two people don't have their cameras on because they look and I think, uh, Kevin's raising his hand. Yes, Kevin Connor.
I feel I'd jump in here and give a question, David. Question, you had talked about social media and what is, how do I say this? I'm sure we all probably have one idea that we've learned from social media. Like, let's just try to accept that it's here and how do we get better at it? Is there anything you've learned on gratitude that stood out?
Well, I'm not sure this will answer your question, but I know that one of the things that's helped me get a bigger audience is, and this doesn't directly answer it, but is consistency, because I post every single day. And I even started when I used to do 2 and 3 and 4 minute videos. I now do a couple other things, but primarily a 15-second video for TikTok. It's just a quick hit every day, and it gets a tremendous amount of views because people just don't have time anymore. And so I think all I've ever tried to do, and I talk to my sons about this, is just set the best example that I can, because there's just so much. I don't understand it. I don't quite get why people can be so mean and what's happened to them. And some of this, as I've gotten older and gained a little more wisdom, I'm a little more mellow, I guess I could say. But I think just trying to participate and just set the best example and maybe don't lower yourself to somebody else's level, if you will. As my mom, nothing against truck drivers, but my mom used to say to me, don't lower yourself to a truck driver mentality. What's wrong with truck drivers? I mean, what's wrong with them? But I got the point. So, Jeff, Yuki
Good.
Kazu, Sarah, what do you have to add, my friend?
Oh, just to touch on what Kevin was asking is like you said, consistency and doing it every day supports with learning what does and doesn't work. And so even today, it's like I had an idea last night where it's like, oh, I want to apply this to all my videos moving forward. So I think as we do it, we gain the experience and figure out what we enjoy or don't enjoy about our own content. So that would be my recommendation.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. All right, excellent. Any other comments from the content? Sam, so nice to see you. Sam, tell everybody
Hello there.
Sam, tell everybody where you're calling from.
I'm calling from near London in the UK. So I'm
Very
1 hour from London. It's 8 p.m. My son's been in hospital. He's fine. I've had a long day, but I'm so grateful to be here.
Me too. Me too.
Yeah.
Nice to
No,
see.
thank you. I just wanted to add that actually anything worth doing is worth doing daily. I
Yeah.
really
Oh,
strongly believe that. And that's for me almost like a day is a whole life. You can actually just think that's all we've got. We've just got today. We don't know if we're going to wake up tomorrow. So
yeah.
for me, I call a friend, I see a friend, I do a little bit of exercise, gratitude, enjoy food. I try and incorporate these little things every single day.
So important.
And,
Good.
and it's
Well
important.
said.
So thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you for being here, Sam. It's interesting because time goes by so fast. And you said all we've got is today. You're absolutely correct. And sometimes, so what do you do? What do you keep time from going by fast? I saw a Netflix movie last night called The Greatest Day in Pop, or A Big Day in Pop, and it was about the making of the We Are the World. And they so they went back, and it happened to be my birthday, which was odd, January 28th, 1985. And so I thought that was 39 years ago. And yeah, I could, it's like almost 40 years ago. And they had all those stars and how they got them all together and did their little clips of things, and then Leave Your Ego at the Door. And it was Quincy Jones who kind of orchestrated the whole thing, but Michael Jackson and Lionel Richie wrote the song in like 2 or 3 days, and how the whole thing came together. But I just thought that cannot be 40 years ago. And so what do you do with time? What is the antidote to that? And that is, Sam, what you said. It's just be present. Be present. Don't be thinking about an hour from now or tomorrow or the next day or whatever, and just enjoy the moment. And I mean, when I do my talks, I get a lot of stats on things that I picked up along the way to try to illustrate points and things. And one was, I can't remember if it was the world or the United States. Maybe it was the world. I can't remember, but they said every day 70,000 people will not wake up tomorrow. They'll just die in their sleep. And I said, we all go to bed, and now, especially at my age, I hit the pillow sometimes and just go, well, I hope I wake up tomorrow. It's like I'm going to go off to La La Land now and stuff. So, and obviously it's not funny, but it's just that that's just means be aware of today and be really present, because sometimes that's all we have. So, hey, Barnsley, what's going on? Okay, so let me just mention a little bit of housekeeping. I like to start off with the information first and get started right at the top of the hour. As I say, we will stop right at the top of the hour at 1 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. But just to give you an idea of what we're doing, so I call this a Gratitude Infusion Mastermind. And I do appreciate everybody showing up. It's all about the advantages of a gratitude mindset. That's what I'm trying to get across. I ask people to have their cameras on if they can at all possible. So most everybody does, which I appreciate. And then use the chat or use your virtual hand raise if you have a question. And I open the room at 11:50, start right at 12, and then we'll end right at 1. For those of you, I think most all of you know me, but I've been doing this for those that don't, I've been doing this for about 10 years now. When I left Lowe's as a store manager and decided I wanted to realize my dream from the age of 19 about being a speaker. And it's just, and finally, after 45 years, I got the guts to do it, which is 2013. So it's been about 10, 11 years. And it's just been a joy, because I think about what I got out of those other jobs, and it was nice to get money and benefits and 401k and vacation pay, but I never got this "you changed my life" as much as I do now. So I encourage people, and I coach people with this too. If you haven't found something that you're doing that you love, and then there's people like John Flora who hasn't found it, but is going to find it pretty soon, though. I know I'm counting on that. But just what do you want to do for the last chapter, for the next chapter, whatever it might be. So that was very fortunate for me. And typically, and I won't need actually I will. Yeah, we will have time for a pad and paper. If you have a piece of paper and a pen handy, that's kind of nice, because I usually do one exercise. So we got a little interactive aspect to it. We'll do a breakout room with 3 or 4 people. I have 3 questions, which are in the chat, and you can use those questions or talk about your own. Probably put like 4 people in a room is usually pretty good. Love any input. Kevin, thank you for those comments. Jeff, Sam, and so forth. And always encouraging you that. And it is the first Wednesday of every month at noon Pacific time. And then you can see the registration on Zoom, as you saw. So the typical agenda is I get to teach what I'm teaching that month. And then sometimes we'll have an exercise, which we're going to have after the breakout room, which we'll need a pad of paper for. And then the questions and comments you just saw. The breakout room, as I mentioned, any takeaways from the hour. And then I have the links in the chat. And in the links, I've got the gratitude journal where you can purchase that. You can do a complimentary coaching call, sign up for my Monday Morning Minute, subscribe to my YouTube channel. I have a new program for people that are contemplating retirement called Encore Endeavor, Fulfilling Your Greater Purpose. I have a free guide on that. And so that is in the links as well. So with that, we are going to go to I didn't finish it. So then takeaways from the training, the breakout rooms, takeaways from breakout rooms, the exercise, and then my final exercise, which we'll do. So we're going to go into a 15-minute breakout room. And I have, look at all these things in the chat. So I'll put them again in here further down. But the questions are, and again, you can use these or just have a conversation between the the 4 of you, whichever works the best. Have you kept New Year's resolutions? Does gratitude play a part in your daily life? And do you have a daily routine you follow? Because I was talking about the power hour, which is what I've done, which I really just sort of sets a tone. And the important thing is do all that stuff before you turn on the devices. So, okay, I'll see you all back in, that's not what I want. Hold on. Oh, somebody's got some noise.
David, did you drop those in the chat? Because I don't see them, the question.
Yeah, there, hold on. Let me look at the chat here. So it says, it's right at the very top in the blue.
Well, if anybody who comes in after you drop it won't see it.
Oh, thank you, Anastasia.
That's just a standard.
Okay, there. So it's in it. I just put it in again. So you should see. Do you see it, Anastasia?
Kelly, could you mute yourself?
Oh, perfect.
I'm not seeing it, but as long as someone else in my room sees them, we're good.
Hold on. No. You know what? Hold on. Everyone in meeting.
Okay.
Somehow it went to my good friend in the UK. instead of
Ah.
everyone. So
That's what you get for having side conversations and then forgetting.
There we
I
go. It's
We've
them.
all
I was
done
hoping
that.
you would have noticed that.
Hey,
Okay.
at least it wasn't the reverse, because it's when you're trying to send a private message that you send to
Oh
everybody
God,
that can get you in
I've seen
trouble.
that happen before. Holy cow. So, all
I
right.
got it now. Thank you. Thank
Okay,
you.
thank
Thank you.
you. So, create one. Let's see. Hold on. Let's do let's do 5. So, okay, so here you go. I'll sign automatically and I'll come back. I'll see you all in 15 minutes. And then we'll talk about anything in the breakout room and then do a little exercise and then any other questions. So here you go. time.
Hello.
How's it going? I put everybody's in the breakout room and I can't, let's see, how do I unassign? Oh, okay. So we're in the breakout room. There's 3 questions. I'll assign you to a room. So let me assign you to room 4. So hold on just 1 second. There you go. Margaret.
Yes, I was speaking.
Oh, sorry.
And I lost my
Will you pop back into the main room? I'll see you Friday, by the way.
yes, I'm
I'm
looking
going to
for.
bring a whole agenda of things to catch up on because it's been too long.
Oh, it's been years.
Well, God, I was saying somebody the other day something about the pandemic, and that's already what, 2.5 years ago or whatever it is. I mean, it's just this whole thing, and you get to be a certain age. It just, as we said earlier, it goes by fast. But I saw something the other day. They said, you think the last 10 years went by fast, try the next 10 years.
Well, that's true. As we're older, the time goes faster,
Oh.
seems to go faster.
For sure, for sure. Okay, so sounds good. All right, looks like most everybody is back. So questions, comments from the breakout sessions, anything that would be of value that you talked about or learned or anything, raise your virtual and or actual hand if you have any comments. Sam.
Oh gosh, that was so heartfelt for me just to be with these beautiful women authentically sharing was really beautiful. Really beautiful. Yes, thank you.
Excellent, excellent. Mr. Polly, or shall I say counselor?
You can call me whatever you want. I've been called much worse. I think Carrie gave a good tip, which was, my big thing has always just been trying to disconnect. And I've just been working on that for a long time. And she said to do it in very small increments. So if I want to not look at my phone in the morning, don't say you're not going to look at it for 3 hours. Just say you're not going to look at it for 5 minutes. And then maybe the next day, go for 6 and 7. And then slowly it'll help you kind of build that, you know, that ability to not having to be so connected to it. So I thought that was a really good tip.
Yeah, excellent. Excellent. Yeah, that's very good. Hey, Jeff, tell him the because I just saw this today. Ikigai.
Ikigai.
Ikigai. Tell everybody what that is. I just saw that on TikTok when I was posting, and I thought that was really cool. Share that with the group.
So Ikigai there's two kind of understandings of it. The Western format of it is a concept of 4 components where you find your purpose or your calling in life. So the first one being something you're good at, something you enjoy doing, something the world needs, and then something people are willing to pay for. And when you can combine those 4 components, you'll find something that's really fulfilling for yourself, where you have deep passion and connection to it, so that it creates better results in your own experience, right? So rather than looking at the destination, but the journey itself becomes more enjoyable. Now, the Japanese side of it is it's not that Venn diagram, but it's actually a lifestyle where you're actively looking for that level of happiness in your everyday life in every moment. So finding fulfillment, trusting yourself and saying, what is it that I want to do right now? What feels right? And trusting your intuition in that way. So there's kind of 2 aspects of it, but really it's finding your purpose and fulfillment in everyday life.
Thank you. I thought that was really good. And kind of everything ends in it. Good at it, enjoy doing it, world needs it, pay for it. So I thought that was kind of cool. Thank you, Jeff. STK.
Yeah, I thought it was kind of cool how we talked about noticing the small things that make a difference in our performance the next day, like a glass of wine or not enough sleep, and how that affects the next day showing up. And what does that mean as far as your daily habits go? Like, what are you willing to take away? What are you willing to add in? And then we talked about our morning routines in relation to that.
Nice. Yeah. And anytime you have people that are, it's the same reason why you have a workout partner, accountability partner, any of those things, it always makes it so much better. So, all right, grab a piece of paper, a pad of paper, a piece of paper, a pen, something. This is a 60-second exercise that does have homework. And the homework will be the next meeting is March 6th, a week from now, a month from now, March 6th at noon. So you're going to have a month to do this, but I want to start you off with this. So I'm going to put 60 seconds on the clock. And I want you to go to that pad of paper. It's going to seem like a big thing, but write as many things as you can. I want you to write down the most memorable events of your entire life. The biggest things that impacted you personally, professionally, trips, family, kids, vacations, whatever. The most memorable events of your life. Write as many of them as you can in 60 seconds. Go. Okay, and there's 60 seconds. So here's the thing. That sounds like a big assignment. Wait a second. You're going to give me 60 seconds to write down the most memorable events of my life. But here's what I want you to do. I happen to think, I'm a little partial because I thought of this exercise one day and I do it in workshops, that what a great idea to sit back and write down and think about all the most memorable events of your life. And it started out, I have a big map of the USA here, and I've got these red stickers where I've spoken. I remember when there was just one sticker in San Antonio, Texas, the first time somebody paid me a fee plus my airfare. And now there's red stickers all across a whole bunch of states. And then there's blue stickers where I've done virtually. But I thought, I was looking at this world map and I went, oh my God, I've never been to Greece. And I haven't been to France. I've been to Asia, but not to, and I started going down the places I hadn't gone. And I thought, what are you doing? Why are you focusing on the places and the things you haven't done? Why don't you start thinking about all the things you have? What's wrong with you? After all, you're the gratitude guy, for Pete's sake. So I decided to do this. So here's what the assignment is. 3 things. There's 3 fingers there. By next month's talk on March 6th, 2024, I want you to increase that list to one of 3 things: top 25, top 50, or top 100. You pick. I don't care which it is. It can be only 25, it can be 50. Now, I've been around a long time. My list is 100. And so then put it on an Excel spreadsheet or a Word doc or something where you can jockey things around and put the most important things at the top. And then just go right down the list. And then you can sort it by, again, the most important things. You could alphabetize it, I suppose, but I really want you to put the most important things. And if it's just 25, that's fine. But for me, at my age, it's 100. And it's right on that bulletin board to my right. I actually have it on my desktop too. Top 100 most memorable life events, March of 2021. And that's the last one. Number 1 is the birth of my son, Connor. Number 2 is my son, Kyle. And it goes down the list: learning how to fly, owning my own airplane, being a national champion hydroplane driver, speaking to 10,000 soldiers at Joint Base Lewis McChord. And it just goes down the list. And what's the purpose of this list? If you're having a bad day and you look at that list, you probably will not have a bad day, because you start thinking, I mean, for me, and again, I'm a little older, but whatever, not old, but older. But look at all those things I've done. I thought it just completely changed my mindset. And everything around gratitude, a gratitude attitude, a gratitude mindset, is focusing on what you have, not worrying about what you don't have. The glass is half full, not empty. Gratitude turns what you have into enough. If you get a case of comparisonitis, which we all tend to get, that kind of like COVID occasionally, and you're looking at your friend has a bigger house, better boat, better house, better wife, better car, whatever it might be, forget it. Go back and look at all those things that you've had that were the most memorable events of your life, and it'll probably turn things around. And if it does, fantastic. If it doesn't, just go to bed and get up tomorrow. It'll probably be better. But in most cases, it's going to make a big difference. So, all right. Now, last thing. Any other questions before we get to our final exercise as we wrap up? Any other questions, comments? Mark J. Carter, good to see you. I notice there's no J in there. It just says Mark Carter. That confuses me. That's okay. Anyway, and Suzanne Taylor King, I think that's STK. I don't know who that is. Hey, Kelly, nice to see you, by the way. I didn't say hi. My good buddy, Walt's sister. Nice to see you, Kelly. All right. So here's what I'm going to do. Grab your cell phones. So
Real quick, David, the list is all happy, memorable moments. Is that
well, actually, not really.
That was the thing I was going to ask too.
That's
but
actually,
it seems
Jeff
as though...
and Anastasia, that's a good question. I have, I think number 7 or 8 is surviving the death of my wife. So it can be, that's a very memorable event. My wife passed away, and the fact that I survived it myself, as well as for my 2 sons, which were 4 and 14 when she passed away, that can be that kind of thing too, that you managed to get through it. So that's a great question. Thank you for asking that. So, all right. So you got your cell phones. This is called the 4 T's, as in T: telephone, tweet, text, or tell. I'm going to imagine most people can text. I'm going to give you the proverbial 60 seconds again. That sounds familiar. And I want you to text somebody in your life and tell them how grateful you are to have them in your life. And it just make sure the word grateful is in there. You can say gratitude or you appreciate them, but make sure the word grateful. I am grateful to have you in my life. Anybody you want. If you can do more than one, that's fine. But do one and text that as fast as you can. 60 seconds, I'll let you do those texts. All right, there's 60 seconds. So some of you may, if you've seen me speak live or virtually, some of you may have seen me do this before, but you can never do it too many times. As far as I'm concerned, you could text somebody every single day, a different person every day, and tell them how grateful you are to have them in your life. So I happen to like that exercise the same way those most memorable events shape how your view is of the day. When you're having a bad day and you see all the things you've done and it makes you have a little different view. It's all about focusing on the glass half full, as I said. But I do find it funny when I've got another in-person talk coming next week, and I've been doing more and more in-person, and they were virtual for a while, post-pandemic and so forth. But there's nothing like it, because I walk to the book table afterwards. Sometimes I get a standing ovation. I come off the stage, I walk down there, I go to the table, and people come up and they hug me and buy gratitude journals and all that kind of stuff. But what's really funny is they show me their phone from the last exercise. Look at this text I got. And the text says, I'm grateful for you too. What do you want? And I thought, man, that's like rude. I mean, are you kidding me? Another one says, are you sure you sent this to the right person? And I thought, geez, who are these people you're texting here? And then this one, I almost decided not to even bring up because it's kind of sort of a sign of our times. But she shows me the text and shows me the phone, and it says, are you okay with the kids? Is there an active shooter in the hotel? Oh my God, and they're texting to make sure that they say goodbye before the active shooter is there or something like that. But my favorite thing was when I was in Bothell, and those of you that know Seattle, is at a performing arts center, and it was text, tweet, telephone, or tell. So you could use your telephone, and there's a gal in the front row that was using her telephone, and I could hear her from the podium, and she's saying, yes, I love you, honey, and I'm very grateful for you. And so she used the right word. She goes, and I'm assuming it's her husband, and I just really appreciate you, and I'm just so grateful for, I don't know, some speaker just told me to call you and tell you. What is with people? It's your idea. It's not somebody else's idea, for crying out loud. But it's so important to express gratitude. And, if you're going to be a good person, practice what you preach. And even what Jeff was talking about, good at it, enjoy doing it. The world needs it, and they'll pay for it. One of the biggest things you got to do is set a good example. And it's pretty hard. I raised 2 sons. I don't smoke. It's been pretty tough for me to go, I better not see you smoking if I'm doing this, puffing away. So you got to set a good example. But doing that, if you remember to do that once a week or once a month or even every day, you'll be surprised what it'll, the kind of results you'll get and the kind of comments you'll get back, and make people feel really good, which is all about spreading gratitude. So, all right, any final thoughts? 1:01 time at the top of the hour. Anybody else have thoughts as we wrap up? Next meeting is March 6th. Also, I'm going to be introducing a gratitude roundtable in the next 60 days too, which I'll tell you more about. But Dr. Barnsley.
Well, thank you. You reminded me that one of the coolest moments in my life was the first flight that I did, the only flight I've ever flown. Right. But that was just amazing. It was my 50th birthday present to myself. So thank you for that. But I wanted to say, so many people are takers in this world. I just heard this statistic that 85% of people are takers. They want things done for them. They want it kind of handed to them. And 15% are givers. And I think one of the best ways we can be a giver is giving gratitude and thanks, and not just to the other people, but to something larger than us, whether you choose to call that energy or source or God or Allah. But, I don't think any of us got here by chance.
Right.
So just
as
having
only Dr. Barnsley could say. Well said.
Wonder is like the gratitude for nature and those little things in life that kids haven't turned off, but as adults, we just become jaded and cynical in many ways, but to flip the wonder switch.
Yeah. I stole this term from somebody once, I forget who it was, and they said, we get caught up in all the things that are so important, and we forget to think about the basics and the things that are really important. So well said, Dr. Barnsley Brown, kick-ass coaching. Any other final thoughts? Thank you all for being here today. I appreciate it. That's why I like to start on time and end on time. Dr. Morgan, any thoughts from you, my friend?
Really grateful to be here. And my biggest takeaway was anything worth doing is worth doing daily. Oh, and I'm like, yeah, why wouldn't I, if it's good for my business or my relationship or my health or whatever it is. Like my word for the year is consistency / discipline. And so, yeah, that really landed. Grateful for everybody.
Excellent. Thank you all. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for showing up. I know time is precious and we take an hour once a month, and I hope to see all of you next month, and we'll have yet another topic for discussion. So thank you all. Take care. Bye, everybody.
Thanks, David.
Bye,
Thanks,
everybody.
David.
You bet.
Bye. Take care.
Bye.